Hmm. Hello students, I'm going to teach you about oh this is my inhaler, so leave it for now. I'm going to teach you about asexual modes of reproduction and different kinds of asexual modes of reproduction. What are the different kinds and what are the different types of asexual reproduction and the full details about it. And I'll teach you in a way that without using any text, without using any animations, without any using any these kinds of thing. I will teach you right into your mind and it will get inside this thing. And while you'll be writing your, ignore please ignore my background because I don't have such economic background that I can clear my background. So let's get started. I'll not just ramble on, because if I start to ramble on, then your ears will just bleed out. Okay, let's get started. So what is the first thing? First thing first, sit in a straight posture and put this thing down. See my England. Then after we are going to start from budding, because I have already revised before it. So we'll start from budding. What is budding? What thing is budding? Budding is nothing but the definition of budding is that the process, not the process, the mode of reproduction, the mode of reproduction in which reproduction is done by the formation of buds. And what are buds? Buds are the outgrowth. Buds are the kinds of outgrowth that appear on the organisms, on these little small organisms, and onto that on top of that organism. For your better understanding, I'll give you an example, and that example is of yeast, and that example of hydra. Let's take an example. Let's just imagine this is an yeast. Okay, this is an yeast. This thing. Oh, it's feeling very hard. Let's just imagine this is an yeast. Okay, if this is an yeast at a microscopic level, you are zooming in with a microscope. You are zooming in. So this is a yeast. Okay, now this is the outgrowth that it has formed. This is the outgrowth that it has formed. What is this outgrowth? This is what we call a bud. And soon after, this bud will get this you're seeing, soon after this bud will get detached, and this will form another organism, and that is what we know as budding. What are the examples of budding? What, in which kinds of animals, not animals, but in which kinds of organisms is budding seen, or is budding seen, or it is budding what is budding seen? The examples are hydra, number one, hydra. And I don't remember the examples, let's be honest. The examples are hydra and yeast. This was the first one. Then the second one is fragmentation. What the heck is fragmentation? I don't understand about it. So let's just do a comparative study of fragmentation and of regeneration, because these two things are very similar. These two kinds of things are very similar to each other, and after being similar to each other, if we study both of them together, then we will obviously we will obviously have these two concepts. These are very simple concepts, and I believe that each and every concept is simple if you are going to learn it. You are just putting the right mind to it, because if you're not putting the right mind towards anything, every concept seems to be so hard, seems to be so gibberish. I use that word gibberish for myself, because it just connects with me. Gibberish is a thing for me that I have understood, but not fully, that I can make anyone else understand. That is the thing, that is gibberish for me. And yeah, let's get started. What is regeneration? What is fragmentation? Let's come to fragmentation. What is fragmentation? So let's have some simple definition, or let's have some great definition. Simple definition would be fragmentation. What do you mean by the word fragment? Fragment means piece, broken down piece of something that breaks down, that is known as fragmentation. I'm just trying to give an analogy that you kids understand about it. What is fragmentation? My feet is being fragmented, my lower back is being fragmented. That is not a very good thing. Now we'll go out to fragmentation. What is the one line, not one line, but what is the conventional definition to this that I will give you? My cheeks have puffed, yeah. I should lower my intake and just start exercising. Okay, let it be. So what is exactly fragmentation? What the heck is fragmentation? So let's get into it. Fragmentation, the mode of reproduction. The Let's look onto my figures and count the words. The mode of reproduction in which organisms reproduce by by breaking down into several pieces, and each piece grows into a fully grown organism. I do, because I know, you know me, yeah, I do not remember these conventional type of, all these conventional type of definitions and all these definitions. I just don't, I can't remember them, and I do not remember them. I just have all the concepts clear in my mind, and I just write those concepts down. That is the thing with me. Oh my god, my mustache have grown. Now let's get started. What's the real definition? I'll read that. I'll read the fair copy for you, okay? The definition says the mode of reproduction in which an organism breaks into several pieces and each piece develops into a new individual is called fragmentation. Okay. What is it? What was that? It is the mode of reproduction. It is a mode of reproduction in which an organism breaks into several pieces. Several means what? Several means many pieces into certain pieces, into specific pieces. It breaks down. For example, this is a hydra. Consider a finger as a hydra. This is an organism which reproduces through fragmentation. Consider this is this your finger as hydra. Now, if this finger is hydra, it is very microscopic level. We are again zooming in with our microscope. This is hydra. Okay, this is hydra. Now imagine these lines as the lines of division. These kinds of lines as the lines of division of hydra, which means that along which axis the hydra will divide. Now when it matures, which means that when it has known that yes, I have maturity, now I can live on my own. This part says yes, I can live on my own. This says also yes, I can also live my own, and this also says that yes, I can also live on my own. And these all three pieces just say that yes, that I am mature and I can live on my own. So what happens? They just break down. That's what it is. That's how it happens in America. That's how when the child is just at even I am just fed by my parents. They are feeding me. But in America, in those kinds of not continents, but in those kinds of countries, the parents just throw themselves out, but the kids are so self-dependent, become so self-dependent, and the parents just let them to be that yes, you can go and enjoy your own life, and you can just sustain your own life with yourself. That is the thing that is given in it. Now we'll understand one another thing, that is the examples of fragmentation. So this is fragmentation, and the examples of fragmentation are Spirogyra and Hydra. What are they? Spirogyra and Hydra. Spirogyra, Hydra. I do not remember any other examples, and these two organisms are sorry for interruption, but these all two organisms, not all two, but both of these organisms are very microscopic level. Hydra, one more thing that I want to tell you, I have just seen the shorts or something like that only, in which it says that Hydra, Hydra, Hydra is a type of, it's a not type of, but it is a not type of, what I can say, it is a close relative of jellyfish. It is a close relative of jellyfish and Spirogyra. It is also not a relative of jellyfish, but it seems like in long tubular structures. That is why it is named as Spirogyra, because its chloroplast is arranged in this form. Let's say this is Spirogyra. I'm teaching you details. You must subscribe. My hoodie is red and the subscribe button is red, so if you want to change the color of my hoodie, you should subscribe to that channel, and when you subscribe to that channel, this hoodie's color becomes gray just as your dad's hair color. Good joke, na? I know. Now we come to regeneration. What is regeneration? I do not have any what kinds of effects, so I'll just put the stamps down there. But what is regeneration? What is regeneration? Let's think of what is regeneration. Regenerate, something that is there, it regenerates, which means that it forms again. What is the thing? Oh, lizard's tail, it forms once again. No, I'll not do these kinds of drama. I'll just tell you that fragmentation and regeneration are same, in which an organism breaks down and it matures. When it matures, it breaks down and it forms another organism. So it divides, it grows into a different organism. But in regeneration, the difference is that the regeneration is forceful. Regeneration is not by its own maturity when it gets mature. Fragmentation is like when you have your stable income, when you have secured your career, when you have secured everything, then you are just getting off from your parents. And regeneration is like, god forbid, no, no it, god forbid, Krishna's hand on everyone. He should teach all you, he should bless all you, but no, it should not happen with anyone else. But if खुदा ना खास्ता, if your anyone's father is just getting away from him, then he has to mature. That is regeneration. That thing is regeneration. If someone's father is just getting away from him, that is regeneration. That is what we call regeneration. This is a forceful, not a forceful, but this is forceful. This is a forceful what? This is a forceful conversion. This is a forceful thing. Okay, when just like when we see what, when we see a lizard, does a lizard just rips off a tail on its own? It just cuts off, it just breaks down its tail on its own and says, no, I do not want this tail, I just do not want this tail, I just want a new one, I just want to upgrade. It is not like that. The tail, the lizard is stuck somewhere, the poor lizard is stuck somewhere, and someone rips off it, some external force rips it off, and that's how there is regeneration. So regeneration is not a process. So it is a mode of reflection in which an organism is broken or cut into pieces, and each piece grows into an organism. That is what we call regeneration. Now it's called regeneration. Now there are some certain differences between regeneration. I do not remember. I have actually I also read in class 10th. Okay, so if I read in class 10th and I can teach you all, then how will I can teach? You all know how will I can teach in class 10th. When I read in class and I am teaching you all, then how will I can teach? You can understand. This is an 11-minute, 12-minute lecture, and I'm just blabbering out here and there, just blabbering something. So it is called regeneration. The difference between fragmentation and regeneration. What the heck is the difference between fragmentation and regeneration? It is just one thing, and that one thing is what? Four things. No, not one thing. One is that fragmentation occurs when the organism is matured, but regeneration can occur when the organism is not matured. Then the second thing is, it happens to reproduce. The fragmentation, the organisms knows that yes, after this I'll be reproducing, yes, I'll be just populating myself, I'll just be expanding my population. That the organism knows that yes, I'm expanding my population. But in regeneration it's not like that. It is done to compensate the loss of an organ. It is done to compensate that loss. I think I'm doing just so much hand movement that this hand, and this hand, all these hands are just blabbering here and there. Now the third one is that forms of organisms, which means that regeneration may even occur in higher forms of organism, but fragmentation only occurs in lower forms of organisms. So there are three differences. What are these three differences? Just tell me. One is that occurs in which higher or lower organisms, occurs in which category of organisms, which development of organisms, no, not category and development, but in which sect of animals. And this is that what is the cause? Is the cause reproduction, or is this cause if the cause is it is just compensate the loss of a lost organ. It is just done for that. Okay, then after that is number one thing, and that is number one happens on maturation, and one happens when the organism is not matured. Okay, now we'll study about spore formation. What is spore formation and how does it occur, and what are these things of a spore formation and all that. So what is spore formation? What is exactly spore formation? What is spore formation? So spore formation is nothing but one thing, and that thing is that spore formation. I don't remember the exact words. So the exact word is that I don't remember exact words, but I'll try you. I'll not try you, but I'll try to make you understand the exact things. And the exact things, I'm just I'm just trying to adjust the light with my head. It's just not. Okay, let's see. A spore formation. The mode of reproduction in which an organism reproduces an organism reproduces by forming spores. What are spores? Yes, हो गया spore formation. What are spores? Spores are tiny, light, asexually reproducing cells enclosed within cyst. What did you just say? I didn't understood. What is a spore? Let me explain it to you. What is a spore in just 2 minutes? Two no, 3 minutes. It can be 3 minutes. Let's just understand about a spore. Let's imagine this a sphere as a spore. So it is a spore on a microscopic level. This is a spore. Let me just put it aside. I've put a spore in front of you. It is a very tiny, I'm seeing it on microscopic level, that's why it's so huge, but at least, not at least, but by the way, it is very tiny, very small, very small. So this is the small spore, and this spore just does what, this makes so many organisms, because when you see, they are very tiny. Spores are tiny, very tiny. They are so tiny that you can't see. For one example, to make you understand that how tiny they are, have you ever what, have you ever left your bread uncovered, or have you ever left your lunch in your school? I remember one day when I left my lunch in the school, and at that very day, after that day, there was 7 days vacation in my school, and after that 7 days vacation, when I took the lunch out of my school, and then they saw it was full with molds. So where did the lunch was packed? The lunch was packed. So where did the mold come from? Where did the bread mold come? How did that fungus came there? That is the real question, which means that these tiny asexually reproducing light cells are enclosed within cysts, and they are everywhere. They are so tiny that they are not visible by naked eye. That's why they are called spores, and when they move, they are called zoospores. Yeah, they're when they move, they are, since they are motile, they are known as zoospores. And if they are not motile, it is not a very big term to just, I'm just teaching like a Byju's teacher. I know that. Then after is, the spores are tiny, light, asexually reproducing cells enclosed within cyst. Now this is a very what important information that I want to convey to you, that it has been taught by my teacher, that if not taught by my teacher, but the cyst is very hard, and the cyst only breaks when it finds favorable conditions. And if it does not find it, which means that a spore doesn't find its favorable conditions, even for 2 lakh years, even for 3 lakh years, even for 5 lakh years, it will not reproduce, it will not break, and it will not reproduce. That is the fact, and that is the thing that I want to make you to understand. I'm using 100% English, and I do not know where these all English words and all these things are coming. I do not know, but yes, it is all coming in front of camera, and I'm feeling that yes, this is a thing. Now these all spores form in sporangia. This is another, I think, not I think, but I tell you that sporangia is nothing but these are spores. Now put 1 spore, 2 spore, 3 spore, 4 spore, so many spores inside a bag, not spherical bag, and that is what we call sporangia. And this sporangia bursts, the spores just go all around here and there, it forms in sporangia. Where of sporangia? Where these organisms grow like this in the bread mold, and this is the sporangia, and this sporangia burst. And when this sporangia burst, all the spores are just here and there. The spores just here and there, the spores get just here and there, and the spores are what? The spores are getting here and there, and the spores diffuse in the air, they disperse in the air. Okay, that is the only thing. Then after is that, okay, what is the real definition of then spores? So spores are spores, 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 spores. Okay, spores. So what are spores? Spores are tiny. Repeat after me. Spores are tiny, light, mm, asexually reproducing cells enclosed within cysts. Enclosed within cyst or a protective layer. What is a cyst? Cyst is a protective layer. One thing I want to tell you, my head is aching, and this is a formula that I use for curing my headache. Let's see how it works. It works so much, very much. Now, what are the examples of a spore formation? The examples are fungus, molds, algae, and mosses. Yes, I do not just what I remember all these things. These are fungus, molds, algae, and mosses. Mosses, MOSSES, mosses. What is that? Molds, algae, and mosses. Fungus, molds, algae, and mosses. What did I just did there? It is so humiliating. Not humiliating, but it's so weird and awkward. Let's just close it on, and from the very beginning just give the examples of the organisms that do this. Binary fission, leishmania, paramecium, amoeba, all of these under favorable conditions do binary fission. Multiple fission, amoeba, plasmodium is a special name that does bind multiple fission. Then after multiple fission was their fragmentation, spirogyra and hydra. Then after was regeneration, lizards, spirogyra, the organism that regenerate also do fragmentation, also regenerate. Okay, this is the regeneration. So regeneration was completed, and after regeneration there is another thing, that is what that is after regeneration there is one thing that we know as that I was just reading right now. Spore formation occurs in molds, fungus, algae, mosses, molds, fungus, algae, molds, fungus, algae, mosses. Do you remember? Mosses, molds, bread molds like rhizopus, algae, and spore formation happens in algae, Bolozoma caesari, algae, and then after in these all things. Okay, now we come to another topic, and that another topic now I'll teach in this position only. Now the another topic is, after first spore formation there is I have taught regeneration, fragmentation is done, spore formation is done, and then we move on to, after spore formation we move on to vegetative propagation. Just we remember what are vegetative parts. Flower is the reproductive part of the flower is the reproductive part of what? Flower is the reproductive part of the plant, but flower is the reproductive part of the plant, but all the parts are not reproductive part of the plant. The parts that are not the reproductive part of the plant but still reproduction can be done from that part is known as vegetative. The parts of the flower other than the reproductive parts are known as vegetative parts, and vegetative parts can be used for reproduction also. So what is vegetative propagation exactly? So exactly, vegetative propagation is nothing but vegetative propagation is nothing. Vegetative propagation. Good question. So the mode of reproduction in which a plant is reproduced by using its vegetative parts is known as vegetative propagation. And in vegetative propagation different parts of different plants are used, and